We all know the name Thomas Edison, the wizard of Menlo Park, the man who lit up the world. But names are a strange thing in history, the ones we remember and the ones we erase. Because the light bulb we celebrate today, the warm glow in every home, the street light on every corner, didn't start with Edison. It started with a man you've probably never heard of. A man who once escaped the shadows of slavery, only to be swallowed again by the shadows of silence. This is not a story of revenge. This is a story of invention, of quiet genius, of a man who made the modern world possible and was left in the dark. Fade into orchestral swell. His name was Lewis Latimer. He lit the world with carbon filaments. He helped Bell with the telephone. He drew the blueprints of tomorrow. And yet history stamped another name on his legacy. This is untold history, and this is the light that wasn't Edison's. Lewis was born in 1848 in Chelsea, Massachusetts, just 15 years before the Emancipation Proclamation. His father, George Latimer, was a fugitive, an escaped slave from Virginia who sparked a firestorm of national attention when he fled north. George was captured and jailed. Boston rallied. Abolitionists filled the courtroom. George's case ignited headlines across the North and fear across the South. That's the legacy Lewis was born into. Not wealth, not privilege, but defiance, resilience. After his father vanished, possibly recaptured or forced to flee again, young Lewis had to work. No formal schooling, no tutors, just survival. At just 13, he was earning pennies on the docks. At 16, he lied about his age to join the U.S. Navy, serving during the Civil War. Think about that. A black teenager born to fugitives, serving a divided nation, fighting on the seas, while racism raged on land. When he returned, he didn't ask for handouts. He asked for pencils and paper. He taught himself mechanical drawing, the art of translating invention into form. Late at night, by candlelight, he practiced straight lines and perfect curves on scrap. He watched draftsmen through the window, then mimicked their hands. He absorbed angles like language. By 20, he was the most skilled draftsman in the room, and he was just getting started. In 1872, Latimer was hired full-time at Crosby & Gould, a Boston patent firm. He started as an office boy, but that job had a secret power: access. He could study invention up close. He could examine the future on paper and then draw it into existence. That's how he caught the attention of a man with a wild idea. Alexander Graham Bell. Bell had a concept for a new kind of device, a way to transmit sound across wires. But the race was on. Multiple inventors were circling the idea. The patent would go to whoever filed first and had the clearest drawings. Bell needed help. He turned to Lewis. Latimer worked through nights, hand-sketching Bell's concept from napkin to patent. It was submitted just hours before Elisha Gray's competing design. That sketch helped win the patent on the telephone. And yet, Lewis's name was never front and center, because the man who turned voices into wire was outshouted by history. But Latimer didn't stop. He filed patents of his own: a new train bathroom system, an early air conditioner, an apparatus for improving electric lamps. He was designing comfort, cleanliness, communication. Long before tech was a billion-dollar word, Latimer was laying the wires. Let's talk light. Edison had the idea, but the execution was flawed. His bulbs used paper or bamboo filaments, fragile, inefficient, quick to burn. Electric light wasn't viable, not for cities, not for homes. Then came Latimer. While working for the U.S. Electric Lighting Company, he developed a method for producing carbon filaments, tougher, longer lasting, cheaper to mass produce. This changed everything. His new process included an oxygen-free environment, a pressurized carbon coating, specific filament curvature to enhance glow and lifespan. Suddenly, the bulb wasn't just a laboratory novelty, it was a revolution. Edison's company noticed. They hired Latimer, not just as a technician, but as a chief patent expert and electrical engineer. He even authored a 1890 book, Incandescent Electric Lighting, a practical description of the Edison system. Let that sink in. The man writing the book on Edison's lighting wasn't Edison. He also became the first and only Black member of the Edison Pioneers, a group of inventors handpicked to carry Edison's legacy forward. But while Edison's name became a brand, Latimer's name faded from the packaging. Latimer's genius didn't stop at invention. He worked on electric street lighting across New York and Philadelphia. He served on the board of patent control, where he mediated some of the fiercest tech battles of the day. He translated and supported projects in French and German, fluent in languages most Americans never studied. He was an engineer, a diplomat, a poet, a Renaissance man in a segregated world. But in the textbooks, in the classroom posters, he was gone. Why? Because he didn't own a lab, because he didn't fight for headlines, because he was Black in an era of white titans. His blueprints built the future, but the future forgot to draw him back in. He didn't have the PR machine. He didn't become a household name. But without him, we wouldn't have household light. Latimer passed away in 1928 at age 80. He'd lived through the end of slavery, the Civil War, the birth of electricity, and the dawn of aviation. He'd seen a world of candles become a world of cities lit at night. But his name didn't make the headlines, and his legacy faded into archives. It took nearly a century before anyone told his full story. Today, his former home in Queens, New York, is a historic landmark, the Lewis Latimer House Museum. STEM educators now include his story in Black History Month curriculums. NASA and MIT have highlighted his contributions. He's been honored on stamps, exhibitions, and memorials. But there's more to legacy than plaques. There's truth. And this is the truth. He didn't invent the light bulb, but he made it work. He didn't shout for credit. He shaped the silence. You can have an idea. You can even make it sparkle for a second. But to change the world, it has to last. Lewis Latimer made light last. He made sound travel. He made patents protect people who had nothing but ideas. And he did it quietly, brilliantly, relentlessly. So the next time you flip a switch, remember the name Latimer, because in the shadows behind Edison's spotlight, he was the one who kept the lights on. This was the story of Lewis Latimer, and this is untold history.